Hello everyone, it's Vicky here today, designing for Bramble Fox, and I am using this perspective from the store which says enjoy yourself and has an arrow, and then the paper snips which I believe are in the May Fox box. And there's my photo up there, me and some friends at the seaside, and I am going to scrap that. And I want to use the Let's Go collection from Simple Stories, and in particular I want to use some tags. So what I'm doing here is I'm just cutting off the end of the tag, leaving a little bit of the colour below so that I've got a line, and you'll see why in just a second. So I'm going to cut all of these out, and I used a whole sheet of them, all but one, because I'd already used that, and actually I think there are a couple left over from here. So my idea is to put them all around the page into a circle. So I'm just drawing a pencil circle onto the layout, onto the white cardstock, and then I'm going to lay these tags around the circle, overlapping slightly, to create a circle effect, almost like a wreath of tags. And that's kind of how it's going to look. And I'm going to punch some holes in each of them because I'll want some string later. I'm just going to skip through that because you don't need to watch me punch everyone. And then I'm going to stick them down. So what I'm going to do, because I'm going to sew through these, I'm just sticking with a tiny little section below the circle so that I can still get to the hole, but not near that bottom line, because I want to sew and I don't want my sewing machine needle to get all stuck up on the glue. So just a little bit on there, and I'm going to put them all around, sort of overlapping each other, to create the circle. This is pretty simple to do. I put the top two and the side two on first, and then fit them in the middle so that I don't end up with a strange mismatch at the end, you know, the one tag being more covered than the others. So I took that away and I sewed a line onto the tags, and I also sewed an inner circle as well. And my circle is not perfect by any means, but it just adds a bit of extra dimension, I think, to the layout, having the sewing. Okay, I want to back my photo, and I'm going to use this paper. It's just got some plus signs on, and I want to leave a little bit at the edge just as an extra bit of texture there. And so I do that, and then I'm just cutting out some things from the paper snips, and I want to use this little orange camera. I think about using the arrows, but I decide I don't need more arrows. And I'm just rearranging, just sort of having a look to see where it's going to look best on here. I'm rooting around in the collection for more bits and pieces. I'm loving how my sweater matches the layout with the pink and green. That was not intended, but it works well. So I'm just pulling out some pieces from here, just trying to decide what I might want to use. I decided not to use any of those at the moment, but I do want to put this VW on here. This was a little trip that I made with some friends to the beach, so we drove there, and it was a surprise for my birthday, so it was really pretty, really lovely little surprise. So I thought that the little car would work well. And yeah, so just picking out some bits and pieces, some florals that I might use here. Always like to have some florals on my layouts. Then I decide, I think here, that I want to do some mixed media. Yeah, so I take out this Distress Oxide, which is worn lipstick, and I'm just going to put it onto some packaging and then smush it down inside my circle. So I'm going to put it all over the inside there. I'm going to use my brush to move a bit around. This is quite thick white cardstock. It's not gessoed, so there's not much movement for moving it around. Not much chance for moving it around, so you have to do it pretty quickly if you're going to do it. So I'm just going to do some splatters on the page. Some forced splatters, some natural splatters. And I decided to do them around the edge as well. And again, I'm just going to force some as well so that I've got some bigger splatters here too. Make a bit of a mess of this one at the top here, but I do manage to fix it. Okay, so I've got that, and I just want to make the rest of this layout, so I'm just going to dry it up in a second by rolling my kitchen towel over the whole thing, and that will just dry up any excess ink. There we go. So we've got quite a textured look to that ink underneath now, and I like how that looks. So I'm just going to reassemble what I've got here. I've lost one of those floral pieces, but there it is. That was me looking around for it. I always lose something when I'm scrapbooking. So this is what I'm going to do with the string. I've just got plain string. I bought this years ago on Amazon, and it's sort of I think it's described as butcher's twine, and it's what butchers wrap meat in, which is kind of odd for me because I'm vegetarian to have something that we're wrapping meat in normally, but there we go. It's it is what it is, and it works quite well on my layouts. And as I said, I bought it years ago. It's lasted me for so long. There we go. So what I'm doing is I'm putting the string through the tags, and I'm doing a little loop when it goes under the tags, and I'm doing like a twisted loop and an open loop when it's above the tags. So you can sort of see what I'm doing. I think I'm more of a visual person than someone who describes something. So it's good that I showed this on the video, because describing this would have been pretty difficult for me. So just a under and over sort of action. And then at the end, I'm going to bring that end through, and I'm going to tie a little bow at the bottom just to finish it off. There we go. That works. Just cut off the excess, and then I'm just going to fiddle with the string and make sure it's all the right length, looking sort of pretty even all the way around. And then once I've done that, we can move on. There we go. So I'm going to glue it. So where the twist happens underneath the tags, I'm just putting a blob of glue there to sort of secure it to the page so that it doesn't move around. I mean, it can move because it's not all completely glued down, but it's not going to move from those spots. So the sections will remain the same length, even if it does move a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to start to stick down, and I know where everything wants to go. So that's pretty easy. This stage comes quite quickly. Just getting some sticky back foam to stick my photo so that it's slightly raised from the page. I'm going to stick my photo flat to the paper that I ripped, but I'm going to put the foam underneath that to raise it up off the page a little. And that's just going to go above the title there. So I'm going to stick that down with double-sided tape. And put some double-sided foam or sticky foam on the back of there, and just add these little florals underneath the photo. I think I need to stick my camera down. I'm not doing very well with my title. I need to stick it again in a second. But I'm also putting some foam on the back of the camera so that also pops up from the page. And then finally, I'm just going to add in, I think this is the final thing, just this little geotag there above the car. And that completes the layout, I think. Am I doing anything else? I don't know, I'm thinking about it. Ah, yes, I do. I remember now. So I've got the paper snips here. I've got some little titles on there, and I'm just going to stick those onto the layout as well, because I thought they were pretty cute in their sort of watercolour effect colours there. So I'm just going to cut them into rectangles. I'm not going to cut around the shape, and I'm just going to stick them onto random tags as I go round, just to add a little bit of extra interest there. And that is it now. The final layout is coming. There it is. I hope it inspires you in some way to use your title. And this collection's a year old now, so it's nice to go back to an older collection, which I loved the first time round. There are some close-ups coming up as well for you to take a look at. If you have any questions at all, just let me know and I'll be happy to help. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. This has been Vicky for Bramble Fox. See you next time. Bye-bye.